Good evening, everybody. Good evening on this Saturday night. And for the for this topic, I just want to talk about, you know, what is a brand, right? So when you look up what is a brand, right? There's many different meanings. One of them is a type of product manufactured by a particular company under a particular name, right? Then you have a brand name, a particular identity or image regarded as an asset, or a particular type of or kind of something, right? You understand about branding, all of that, right? But when you go down and look at something, right, to promote a particular product or company by means of advertising and distinctive design, we all have the ability to market and brand our own product, right? Commander, what up now? Okay, cool. Right. So when you look at that meaning of branding, right, what 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 does that mean to everybody, right? Does people understand that you are a brand, right? You guys are a brand, right? I know I came up here before and I said that, as we do this YouTube content, we have become influencers, right? Shout out to the word, right? Because the word would tell you, influence is part of manipulation. Cheeky, good evening, right? So when you look at those two aspects, right? If you're trying to influence and you try and however you look at it, whether you agree or not, it is a form of manipulation. Now you have become a brand, right? How do I become a brand, right? So if you say, for example, I'm gonna use me, right? I come up here as Busted Down Brown, right? So now the reason why I took on that name, because I have to break down the concept or the theory of, sometimes, I can give somebody what I can give the people what they want. So many times before, Ron, good evening, what's going on? So many times before there was people saying there's nobody talking about encouraging. There's nobody breaking this down. There's nobody breaking that down. So now I have to live up to the name, bust it down Brown, and break down some of these things, right? I could break down, how we become a brand. I have spoken about how we have become influencers, right? I have spoken about, you know, no man is an island. The power of words. Realist, good evening. What's going on? So when you go about those aspects, you have to understand. that your name has now become a brand. You are a brand. You are selling somebody a idea of who you are on YouTube, right? So if I was to come up here and say, you know what, I want to be a fool, or I just want to, down, I just want to down somebody or talk about somebody in the aspect, your name becomes that brand. You are branding yourself into a situation, or a character, or in a department that where you supposed to be, right? Shout out to Cheeky, right? Cheeky is, Cheeky is a historian. She her channel's about history. So she has branded herself to be a historian. Whether she whether she is understanding that she is not like the archaeologist or anything like that. When her content comes out, it's about things that happen in history, right? If you look at realist wants to be understood as a person that keeps it real with whatever he speaks about. That's a brand for him. That's his label. It don't need to be copyrighted for you to be branded. That's who he is. He wants to be the realest one on here. That's his brand. See what I'm saying? So these are the things that we have to continuously understand. Once we push go live, we are branding ourselves. We are marketing ourselves, even though it has nothing to do with finances, because you can market yourself as an individual. You can market yourself as a person that speaks positive. In Real's case, he wants to be a person that, he keeps it real. He want to be the one that is on the History Channel. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that we are a brand. We are a brand as we go forward. I have to understand that I had to break down certain situations. There is somebody that wants to be, on here if somebody needed a prayer. I have to be the one that, speaks encouraging words. I have to be the one that's able to give information or add to a conversation if it's warranted. That's who I branded myself to be. That's who I portrayed myself to be. And whether I'm doing it correctly or not, it's another topic. Because as much as I feel like I'm keeping my brand, or I'm keeping it, myself branded. It's up to you. It's up to people to say, am I keeping, is he doing what he said he's going to do? Is he keeping up with his content? Is he breaking down the barriers of what he said he was going to do? That's up to other people. That's why it's hard for me to I I can't constantly come up with content, because sometimes it has to be a thing to where I could break down a thing, right? Like every time, everything is not always going to be encouraging, right? So that's why lately I haven't been doing any content, because I haven't had anything to speak about to where I can say, you know what, I understand. But now that I understand that I am a brand, I have to be more encouraging. I have to keep up what I started over a year ago. I have to stay on. I have to stay consistent. Consistency is what makes an individual viewable. It also makes you reliable. Reliable. Your consistency of a thing makes you do those type of things. And if you don't show up and be the person that you say you are, people may not believe you are that brand. People might say, you know what, that brand is dying down. That brand is no longer existing because you ain't showing up a lot of the time. But as long as I continue just the consistency of my content, I want people to understand that's who I am. If people speak to me in the background, they can tell you even better. Do I keep up what I say on live as I do behind the scenes, or is it just something that he's talking about? I don't want to be branded as the one that chops somebody down. I don't want to be branded as the one that critiques somebody to where they no longer is viewable. I just want to be the one I want to be branded as, hey, he's the one that gave me an encouraging word. He's the one that is doing everything he can to bring a positive aspect into a situation. So that's what I have to do, but I have to be consistent of my brand. If I'm going to bust it down, I have to bust down those walls. He got to be consistent. He got to do this. He got to do that. And so those are the things that I have to work on continuously, right? Because if I falter anyway, that gives the naysayers an excuse to come at me, right? That gives the naysayer, look, I told you he wasn't who he said he was. I told you he can't keep that up. I told you he was over there faking it. There's no need to fake it because if that's who you are, that's who you are. You don't have to fake your realness. You don't have to do none of that because that's what you trying to brand in the first place. You are who you are, right? You just have to be consistent with it. And once you are consistent with it, you can continuously what walls we talking about. For example, it was many people like when I first started, right? There was people talking about, you know what? It was a rarity for somebody to oh, okay, I'm sorry. But uh it was a rarity for somebody to go up there and just pray in a chat. It was a rarity for somebody to say, hey, be encouraged. It was a rarity for somebody to say, you can do this. You got this. Continue to be a blessing. So when I started doing that, they said, hey, you are very encouraging. You should go ahead and do a channel, right? No, I got you. I got you. No, 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 I got you. But at the same time, I'm showing how the brand started in the first place, right? And matter of fact, you was one of the ones like, yo, hey, bust it. Go ahead and do what you do. You might as well go ahead and you was one of the first ones, right? And the fact that you did that, it was a very humbling experience, right? Because a lot of people, if they was in your shoes, they could have said something crazy like, "Look at all these girls are hyping him up to do this, and he ain't gonna do what he say he gonna do." Right? But it was more than just the females that was telling me that. You told me that. Shout out to Atmosphere, right? You guys were telling me like, "Yo, you can do this. I understand why you're doing this, and you can do this. Just be yourself." And being myself, I branded myself, right? It was many people realists that thought, you was only like the battle rap guy, but you branded yourself into something bigger and better. Like you spreaded yourself out to a different surrounding. You started doing live, you know what I mean? Live, excuse me, and you spoke about topics and subjects. And even if you felt uncomfortable with it, you made yourself become more than just the battle rap guy. You understand what I'm saying? You different now. You expanded your brand. You expanded how real you can be. I could be real with the music, but I could be real in the conversation. I could be real just having regular conversations about this aspect or this aspect, or even something that you was rarely doing. Having a topic about just anything in general. And to me, you did very well with it. It allowed me to understand, listen, if he can expand himself and if he can reach people on different levels and aspects of a conversation besides what he first came on here to do, why not anybody else could do it? So shout out to Realist because he was an example of how to broaden your expectations of yourself and become the brand, a bigger brand than how you started. And a lot of us have that capability. A lot of us have it, but for whatever reason, we don't really see the possibilities in ourselves to broaden our horizon, right? You know, when when I started, the sports chat, right? People like, yeah, you can have that conversation, right? And I slowly started into it. I started speaking about sports, this, that, and third. So now I'm a bigger brand than what I was than I started. I try to keep them two separated, but those that know what it is, they know who it is. You understand? Well, I'm not just giving out the encouraging words. I could speak about this sport or that sport or that sport or this sport. You know what I'm saying? So I have become a bigger brand. So that's what it's about, right? If you understand that you a brand, you'll do everything possible not to ruin what you have or what you do. Right? Shout out to the word, even though he's not here, right? Even when the word, he was going through a thing, right? And I'm gonna switch my name up to Coach D. I said, yo, listen, whether you understand it or not, the word is a brand now. You don't have to rebrand yourself. You the word. Stay with the brand. He like, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, what you was watching, Cheeky? Which game you was watching? So you understand what I'm saying? So we have to understand that we are a brand. We may have come on here to have a conversation. We maybe started this thing coming on here to be an encourager. We may have started, just to educate. We may have started just to have conversations about music or history or whatever it is. But once you started that, you have become a brand that is now attached to you. So as long as you continue to work on yourself, you can broaden your. Wow, that was a great game. Was that? I didn't really catch that game. I saw it in the beginning, but I didn't really catch it all. Um, you broaden yourself into a larger person, a larger aspect of your brand, right? And that's the thing that we can truly do. Some people are one dimensional, right? One dimensional meaning, they only want to talk about this or they talk about that. Like even Meek, shout out to Meek. Meek comes on here with her encouraging words, but she turns back into her normal self as well. And do the hairdressing and so on and so forth. So she's just more than a hairdresser. She's one with an encouraging word as a hairdresser. So that's her brand. You see what I'm saying? We all have that in us. We have to understand that whatever we gonna do, we have to understand that our name becomes a brand. Like in real life, our birth certificate, our actual names is a brand on the stock market. Our names are being traded and being made money off of as a bond or a stock or however you view it, right? But it's on your name is on the market. We don't even know that, but that's a brand. Our name is actually a brand in real life. So if our name is doing that on the market, right? We have to understand we ain't getting no value we ain't getting a monetary value off of that until you go ahead and seek it. You might as well come on here and understand that you are a brand on here as well, right? Whether it's sports chat with Miss 33 or Bust It Down Brown. I am a brand. I have to understand. I just want the two brands to be separated, but it's like it's one person in totality, right? If you really look at Sam's Club, right, and Walmart, two totally different stores, but one man owns the whole brand. You see what I'm saying? You can have two different identities, but one person you can own both of them, right? So we can do that in real life. Like I said, Realist was doing one thing. Now he comes up here and now gives his opinion. Now he's broadened his horizons. He got two entities, but it's still the same person. He hasn't lost himself. The brand has just gotten bigger and better. That's what we need to do as people that come up here. We can broaden ourselves. The question is, do we want to one? And why are we afraid to do so if we want to is two. Those are the things that you have to look inside yourself to understand and really have that examination of yourself. Because if you don't have that examination of yourself, you never know how great you can be at what you do, how great your brand could be, how far your brand can go, how far you can go, because you are the brand. We have to understand that going forward. So now that we start looking at things in that perspective, how can I better have these conversations? How can I better show that I want to be encouraging? Let me review myself and see if I said anything that is opposite of what I want to be branded as or portrayed as or whatever. That's up to me. I have to do the work to make sure that I am consistent with the brand that I'm trying to put out there. Right. And then even when the law the laws, the lack of lives, the lack of consistency of going live happens, whatever I have out there, I have to. It has to still be consistent because somebody could be watching a replay from a month ago, from 6 months ago, from a year ago. The last video I did, I don't even know if people understand that was last year. I did that last year. I did that last year, and I did that, and I did the upload just to see if I am as consistent as I was back then. I didn't hear any negative. I didn't hear any negative comments about, hey, you changed a lot. You not the person that you was a year ago. But even if I'm not the person that I was a year ago, I hope that people say, hey, you improved on it on yourself since last year. You might have been speaking more clearly, more fluently, more understandable to reach the audience, right? Those are the things that I do this for. I want to be critiqued about. I'm not mad if somebody give me constructive criticism, because if you are constructing me, you are helping me to elevate my brand. You are helping me to elevate my growth and grow into a different dynamic. And those are things that we all need to become our greater selves. We can be good right now, but we can be great with critique. We can be great with input. We can be great with a comment like, hey, what if you do this way? Shout out to Commander. Commander told me not too long ago, what if you change your profile picture? It may allow people to understand how you truly feel in another aspect. And me, I think it did, because it helped people to understand that I'm trying to be a best version with the picture at hand, ready to take off, or Mr. 33 talking about the different sports that he do on his page. Those are constructive critiques. It's not really a criticism, it's a critique, because she didn't mean it to criticize. She didn't mean it to harm. She said it out of a, a thought process of understanding and love. And those are the things that we have to do going forward. We can't keep sitting up here talking about, well, this don't work, that don't work. The question is, how can we make the brand work? Right? If we sitting there talking about, you know, each one teach one, how can we do better at that aspect? Maybe this conversation will make you understand that, hey, I'm not just doing this for cash apps or to be monetized. I'm doing this because we have to understand that it's not always about finances, that a brand is consistent of the brand that I am is consistent of. I've never like put my cash app up there. I never said, you know what, if you think I'm worth the conversation, send me a cat. I don't do that stuff because it's not about me. Because I'm trying to show that my brand is to be there for people, to encourage somebody, to help somebody get through a situation, to uplift somebody. If you want to call it positive, that's the brand you want to give me. Okay, then so be it. But at the end of the day, my brand is what I think I am. And if you can add to it, that's a great thing. Of course, people want to say, yo, that brand is not, he's not keeping up with his brand. He's not as consistent with what he says he is than everybody else. That's okay. I'll take it and say, okay, how can I improve the brand? right? If that's like if Cheeky just turns around and say, you know what, besides history, I'm gonna talk about today's today's politics. Not that she would, but I'm saying if it gains traction, she has now enlarged her brand. She's more, like she may have to change the name to just Chicky's channel. You know what I'm saying? So it always depends on what you want to do. How do you want to be perceived? When you are perceived in a way, that's how your brand begins to grow, right? Like I don't well, McDonald's, right? McDonald's was known for just burgers and fries and stuff like that. That's their brand. Now they going into McChickens and McRibs and all of these other things. They have enlarged their branding. Now, I know. I'm just saying that that's what you would do. But at the same time, right? You got a rival that want to oppose what you do. If you continue to be yourself, you can enlarge you can separate from your competitor, right? So if there's somebody that's opposing of me, I just have to continuously work on myself to keep my brand in an upward motion to where what you say can't harm me. The only one that can harm me is me. Nobody puts more pressure on me than I do. So even if I don't, come on here consistently, I believe that I have enough content to show that my brand is what my brand is, because I've never came up here and spoke about anybody in a negative way. I don't really have negative conversations. You know what I mean? So if I don't have those negative conversations, my brand is safe for now. It doesn't mean that I don't have to improve on it. It just means that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do on a consistent basis, right? If I like even if I jump on a panel, there's been many times I jumped on Word's panel. Shout out to Word, and added a constructive situation to what's going on, right? So if I do that, then I am being consistent with the brand that I have, right? If I jump on Tay's live and do the same thing, I will still be consistent with who I am. If I jump on anybody's live, I have to be who I am. Why? Because that's who I am. One, and now I understand that I am a brand. I am that brand that I want to be put out there. You know what I mean? Like realist can go around and be the realest one. Whatever his conversation is, he's saying it with the realest and authentic portion of himself. So no one should be able to knock down his brand. It doesn't mean that people won't try, but it'll be harder for them to do because of his consistency of what he does on YouTube on a consistent basis. I'm not going to say daily because nobody's really on here on a daily basis doing lives unless, well, some people are, but the individual, it's an individual basis, right? So that's how we have to go on and be going forward, right? We have to understand that the brand is who you are, because if you don't, right, and that's what I'm saying. So that's what makes your name your brand, because like if they could say whatever they want, the hater could say whatever they want, right? If people are consistently watching you and waiting for your downfall, and then you don't have it, they're gonna say, "Hey, he's the realest one there." That's what his concept is. That's what his brand is. He's the realest one. Whatever conversation you talk about, I keep it real. That's what you hold yourself accountable. That's a motto to your brand. But that's another conversation for another day. But it helps you with the brand that you want to be consistent with. If you hold yourself accountable, then you understand that your brand has to be where it is, because if it doesn't, you wouldn't be holding yourself accountable if it slips off and it continues to go on a downward spiral, if that was the case. But you continue to elevate yourself because you're holding yourself accountable to say, I could do something better. I could have a conversation about this, that, or that, or that, and not be inconsistent but it's my genuine opinion, which is your real opinion of how you feel about whatever you're talking about. That's your brand. Chicky is she's talking about whatever history, whether it's American Black history, African Black history, European Black history, Asian Black history. The consistency of what she does is what allows her to be a historian in other people's eyes, even if they don't have the certificates or the degrees or whatever. Her concept, her content is what makes her a brand. That's why she can have Chicky's History Channel because that's her brand. You see what I'm saying? And anybody else who, well, ain't nobody here to, else to critique. But at the same time, if there were people here, like Word, he's one of those people that want to have a conversation. Let's have a conversation about this, and this. He'll do whatever he can to prove what he stands on or what he believes or how he views a thing. That's his brand. He's one of these. That's his brand. He don't need to change his name to become another brand. His brand is his brand. You see what I'm saying? And that's what everybody has to understand. I'm not here to change anybody. I'm not here. I mean, I'm here to just leave the information on the table. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. My consistency is my brand, right? If I continuously say, you know what, Chicky, you're a blessing. Realist, you're a blessing. Commander, you're a blessing. Bronze, you're a blessing. If I continuously speak on that and how you are blessings and how you encourage somebody or how you have helped me to do something, I'm being consistent. That's my brand. Can't nobody take it away. They can critique it all they want. If I'm consistently saying what I'm saying, then it's a bunch of nonsense. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Everybody talking about how to be a community. Well, guess how you could be a community? Guess how you could be a tribe? If you are consistent with your brand, y'all should be all coming together at some way, shape, or form. You don't have to bring a table. A table could be made by each individual. A portion of a table can be built by each and every one of us. But until that happens, we're just always going to be on the opposite side. We're always going to be against one another. Why? Because we're not allowing our brands to speak for itself. If our brand speaks for itself, we can all come together and align. It's not about being in a group. It's not about, somebody always leading somebody somewhere else. Individuals could become like-minded and join forces and break bread and become a bigger brand, whether it's a community, a tribe, or whatever. We can always do stuff to where we can all combine. We have to understand that our brands could become under one network, right? Like I should tell Chicky all the time. I said, Chicky, why you don't never work with Shakira? Y'all do the same thing. I don't know. We haven't really, I'd rather do this somehow. That's fine. That's cool. But as long as you're consistent, you can always do. But if you feel free to have that dialogue and come together with Shakira, then that's that they can have that conversation. That's the thing that that's what I would like to see as a whole. Everybody become one and become harmonized. You understand? So if that does happen, that's a blessing to them. But their brands would have to come together because they're on the same page. Everybody has to be on the same page of understanding what's going on around us, right? And for whatever reason, we don't have that branding to where we can all link to one another, right? And in order for any community to happen, the branding has to become a joint venture. And a lot of people are just trying to be an individual with their own brand, and that's cool. But I think we could reach more people by combining the brands together, right? And we don't have to like sell nobody out, sell nobody short, right? We don't have to be a monopoly. It's not about being a monopoly. It's about just becoming, you know, together and becoming one to where our brand is equal and not separated. So I think we can all do that, but the individual brand is up to the person or the person has to understand what do they want, what they think is best for them. And that's what we have to look forward to. That's what we have to, be attentive with going forward. I really think a lot of us can work together, but it doesn't matter what I think. If everybody wants to be an individual brand, then that's what they're going to be. I just think that we all could brand up together. We can like we can not buy each other out, but we could collaborate. Nobody loses any interest in what the goal is, and we can work together. I think we can do that. I know we can do that. I don't even think I know we can. The problem is we have to remove ourselves out of the way personally and allow the brand to become the biggest brand that it could possibly be. So, at the end of the day, we have to, as we continue to work on ourselves to become a better and brand, I think if we, take the input of other people, we could become a bigger brand. Miss Chicago, good evening. How you feeling? And I truly believe that will work. But the fact that I started my channel as a hobby anyway, but once I got started, I couldn't. And that's what I'm saying. Your consistency has made you a brand. Look, it went from a hobby. It went from a hobby to something that people could really learn from and understand, right? Whether it's, uh, 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 you branded just if somebody brands us like President Lisa J, we call up, they the stock market people. That's their brand because that's what they talk about, and they talk about it well enough that people have applied it to themselves and gained something from it besides, you know, just listening. They gained financial gains, right? That's a blessing, right? So that's their brand. Well, Lisa J she's the stock lady. Shout out to Prez. He's talking about stocks and interest and so on and so forth. That's what we have to do. We have to be consistent with what we trying to put ourselves out there to be. Now, there's plenty of people that's out there becoming knuckleheads, and that's their brand, and then get mad because that's their brand. There's people who's that straddling the fence and don't have a brand, but they 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 don't understand why nobody is being attracted to them or drawn to them, right? Because they're not consistently on one side of or the other. What do they want to do with their channel? And those are the things that everybody has to work on. If you're trying to be great, you have to elevate yourself to be great. If you're trying to make your brand the best brand that you can be, you have to continuously work at it. Those are the things that we have to do going forward. If we're not going to do that, we're going to be mediocre. And nobody wants to be up here to be mediocre. And there will be times that the views or the likes may not be where you want it to be. Trust me, I've gone through all that already. But for me, to be honest, I really don't care. I'm more consistent. I'm more pursuing the brand of what I want to be out there. I want to be somebody to say, you know what, I've done everything that I could to be the person that I said I was going to be. And even if it doesn't work, I can't get mad at that because I tried it. It may not be receptive for everybody. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, or it may not be something that everybody wants. But the fact that I'm putting it out there for people to see it and view it, or like it or dislike it, it's all I can do going forward. So those are the things that, like I said, I am mediocre because I don't go live. You don't have to go live. That's that's so I mean, I don't know if you meant that. Well, you could always do an upload, excuse me, and put it on YouTube, right? But I think you're doing fine. Now, if you want to do better, that's something that you would have to work out. But your brand is already established. You're miss you're like you're like Miss History, right? You Madam History as far as other people will see. Well, we know she has she'll type in the chat her thoughts or whatever, but when she goes and puts her uploads there, we know she's talking straight history, nothing. nothing else but how she found that Jesus was black, or how Russians have all the artifacts of how all the Hebrews were black, and how there was black Asians, and so on and so forth. You do that work. You was consistent on finding those things out, and that's what makes your brand, your consistency. I literally built my channel based on uploads. Right, realist, you did that with uploads, and now that I mean, you might not feel comfortable with doing live, or you might not feel the same as it was uploads, but you now have become a person that can do both. Like, you might have started off like, I don't really like it, but now that you do it, now you see that, hey, I can gain traction by going live and having a conversation about that, or this one, or that one, and now your brand has grown even bigger, because you're not just doing uploads. You now have, you can do both, but you know in the beginning you were just doing one thing. And that's why, I truly appreciate you, because as I watch you, I understand that there's different avenues to go. Whether people, you don't really know who you are inspiring to broaden a brand by doing what you do. That's why for me, I always say, if I could touch one person, it'll be awesome, right? But at the same time, you may could touch more people. You may not touch nobody, but what you're doing is putting everything out there for somebody to understand, give a person a different perspective of how they look at something. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You don't you could come out of the box. You could draw a little. Listen, I'm not in the box. I'm outside the box. Now my grouping may be a little dot, but I'm outside the box. I could be received in different aspects. I could be heard and say, well, he know what he's talking about, or Chicky know what she's talking about. As long as you consistently do what you do, and there's growth in it, nobody could put you in said box, and your brand begins to grow even wider, or higher, or larger, however you do it. I'd like to do voiceovers, just don't know how to incorporate it. Oh wow. Well, I don't know how. I don't that I can see you doing that, but but do you think, I mean, you would have to do the research. I think you would do that, and do that well, and that would broaden your brand, and that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, not only that, she speaks with eloquence about what the research she has done. You see what I'm saying? That'll broaden your brand, and that's what I'm saying. As long as you continuously work on what you think can empower you, uplift you, and better you, your brand is only going to get bigger and better. I don't care how long it takes. We know in real life, a lot of stores don't make profits in their first year, but your consistency will allow you to elevate that profit market. Maybe next year you might gain a few dollars. The year after that, you gain more than you did the first year, so on and so forth. Lisa, good evening. We're just talking about you, right? And that's why I say, like, if you understand that you are a brand, you're going to do the best thing that you can to elevate who you are as a brand, and not just an individual basis, but a brand of who you are. You see what I'm saying? So continuously figure out, sit back and examine yourself, right? There's people that do it all the time, and every time that they do it, they see progression, they see growth, they see themselves becoming a better version of themselves. That means that your brand that you're working on, it has to improve. I used to do voiceovers using InShot app. There's lots of apps like Kaput. You upload the video, then record your voice over, save and upload. It was never about the money for me, just sharing the knowledge. And that's the same thing for me. I truly feel that way. It's not about financial gain for me. I just truly believe, if I continuously say, you know what, you can do it. Be encouraged, keep focused, you got this, so on and so forth. I believe that that'll help somebody down the road, but it allows me, to become the brand that, okay, he's not here to harm anybody, he's here to help somebody. That's the type of brand that I want for myself. I don't want to never be known as, well, he's the person that cursed this person out, or he's the person that, you know, he spoke badly about said person. That's not what I want, and then going forward, as long as I continuously doing that, like even with the sports channel, I want to be known as a person that speaks about all sports, right? You know, right now the channel talks about football because it's football season. Basketball, I talk about it a little bit, but it's more football. And then even like, we talk about, sports entertainment, wrestling. Why? Because that's something that the people want to talk about. So we have those conversations. So if I have those conversations and it draws people to me, that's the brand that's what sports chat is for. That's the brand that it needs to be. And if I do that and more people come, that's the brand that it has to be. Then I have to figure out, okay, how can I incorporate the NBA into it on an everyday basis? Because there's a basketball game every day. Those are the things that I have to figure out as I go along. But yeah, I seen Crown Jewel. I think I'll speak about that. I'll speak about that on Mr. 33 had that conversation tomorrow. But yeah, when you become that when you have those conversations and people flock to you and say, hey, I actually like what you said, that one person could inspire you to broaden your horizon and do things like that. And when that happens, like your brand is doing nothing but growing and improving every second. So now the question is, what is it? Yeah, I yeah, I agree with you, realist. How do you grow from there? How do you continue to improve from there? Like every one of us has to really sit down and say, okay, I just did, like right now, I'm doing this live. How how could I improve on what I was talking about? How could I improve on another topic, excuse me. I would go down, sit down, have a conversation, you know, not conversation. I'll go down, have the topic, look up whatever focus on the topic. If I can define the topic, if I can make the topic as plain as possible, people may come to me. People may say it's boring or whatever they're going to say. But the job is to be consistent with your brand. If they come, they come. If they don't come, you can fold up shop if possible. But they're coming at a pace that is not, it may not be the thousands of views that you may want to get on here. But if a person tells you, like, yo, I appreciate what you said, you did your job. Well done. Right. And that's the thing that makes me a humble person. If somebody say you did a good job, I appreciate that. Right. And then I can go on and look for the next topic. Right. It's different with the sports channels. It's just sports. So if the sport comes on, I could critique the sport. I didn't like the play. I didn't like the play that this person called, or I didn't like that. Like, I give you an example, right? Sports chat. I was so upset with the World Series game because they decided to pitch to a guy that's known for being clutch instead of just not taking the bat out of his hand. They put the bat in his hand and he showed up and showed out, and the Yankees lost the game. And I was so upset. Like, that don't even make sense to me. I know this, and I'm just the guy that watches it all the time. You guys supposed to study it. How do you not know that? Right? And those are the things that we be doing a lot of the time. We can multitask and build ourselves up at the same time. Right? I've been so focused on the sports chat that I really haven't been on this side of town, as far as Busted Down Brown channel. And it's like, well, I'm trying to build this up. This is already has a brand. Sports Chat, it needs to build itself up to become said brand, so where everybody could come and say, okay, well, let's talk about college football. Let's talk about uh, 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 tennis. Let's talk about whatever it is, right? But I have to do the work to make sure that the brand is even being noticed in the first place. I appreciate the chat that's here now, right? But at the same time, I have to make sure that the content is being consistent, so the chat is not being, well, he fell off. He's not talking the way he used to talk to, or he used to talk to us, or he gave us, this piece of information, or he encouraged us in this aspect, right? I have to understand that the brand that I put out there has to be the brand that is supposed to be there, if not improve it, but not lose level of the basis of the brand, which is to speak encouraging, or uplift, or whatever the brand is. And that's what I have to do going forward. So, it does it take work? Absolutely. But what doesn't take work when you want the best for yourself? Anything that you want to do at a great level, you're gonna have to work for it. You always gonna have to work for it. And whether you understand it or not, the brand that you put out there is gonna have to be worked on. You have to work on it. The foundation is already laid down there. So once that foundation is laid, you can continuously build on it. Even if you don't like a thing, right? You can break it down, but your foundation is the only thing that should be that should be the sturdiest thing of the house, right? Or whatever you're trying to build, right? You could build a house, and you could put history on one side, and then you could have turned around and became a chef. Or, like I said, Realist was talking about this section of music, and now he's talking about everyday life or conversations. And now he becomes, but his foundation is still the same. He still understands that he in his heart is the realest person there. Chicky is still her channels, and her history is the basis of what she's built on. So once you have that foundation, or you could jazz the house up. You could put an extra bedroom in there. Now that the foundation's down there, is, if it holds, it holds. If it don't hold, you can always remove it. But your foundation is the brand. You are the brand. So as long as we understand that we are a brand going forward, we will always do the best that we can to be consistent and make sure that the brand don't fall off. And that's all we have to do. Even if we want to become great, the foundation is going to be the same too. We have to understand that going forward. So, I know that we all have it in us, and I know that, like I said, each and every one of us is a brand. Y'all don't like. I tease Commander all the time. Commander, you might as well make a channel. You sold this, that, and the third. I think you could do it in due time. In due time, right? That's what she says. Chicky, shout out to Cece, even though she's not here. Me and Chicky been trying to get Cece to go. Like, we on her. Like, come on, you need to do it live. You have great conversations. You can do it, but it's up to her to have the confidence her in her branding skills that she can actually do it. Right? It's up to them. But even if they understand that they have one person behind them that's going to be there for them, it's up to them to have that confidence, and say, you know what, I could be that brand. I could be the person that they say I am. Yeah, she hard headed. I'm so sick of my cougar mama, but it's okay. You know what I mean? You know, but I like, it could be because I see things in other people, right? And sometimes when you see things in other people, they don't see it. That's that has to be on them, right? I think you can get through this, and some people don't get through it. It's not because I don't believe it. It's not because they don't see it in themselves. But as long as you can see who you can become, the greatest person that you become, you can continuously work on it. And that's what I have to do for myself. I have to work on this, on both channels in particular, right? To make sure that The brand is being kept at minimum, being kept up, but at the maximum become a greater version of itself. And that's the thing that we have to, that's how it was. Yeah. And that's a, and that's what I'm saying. Real is like everybody don't see themselves going live. Like I didn't see myself going live last year, but here's realist. Yo, busted. You got your GB. You got this. You got this, GB. Go ahead. Don't worry about it. You got this. And I'm like, really? You know what I mean? And here I am a year later. I'm here a whole year later. And in the beginning, it looked crazy because your numbers ain't going up. But I didn't really like. To be honest, it's not about the numbers. It's just about who is like who is receiving the brand that you're trying to put out there. And that's the thing. And that's the thing that we have to understand. That's why I appreciate a lot of people, right? And that's why sometimes, like, I come on here and thank everybody because at the end of the day, you guys don't have to be here. Y'all could be on the other side of YouTube, chilling over there, or having it being entertained over there. But you take the time and listen to it for a little bit, and all right, I understand what he's saying, and then you keep it moving. Chicky, I don't believe that. I don't believe that, but I ain't gonna start with you today. I'm not gonna start with you today. But yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, like even when you do that, Chicky, right? When you go on other panels, you still have to be who you are. You still have to keep your brand where it's at. If you go up there and just be a Nancy know it all, that's not who you are. You do the research and things like that to where, all right, this is what I know because I've done the research on it, and nobody can take that away from you. So right, because you can only be my 33 brother. What's going on though? Um, yeah, but that's all you can do is be you, because as long as you being who you authentically are, that's your brand. That's who you are. Can't nobody take that from you but yourself. Like I said earlier, nobody puts more pressure on you than you. Right. And I agree with that 100%. If you are consistently being you, your brand cannot be touched. They could try to destroy it, they could try to tarnish it. But if you are, Tay, what's happening, Tay? Good evening. Good morning. If you are consistently who you are, your brand cannot be touched. It could never be touched. You understand what I'm saying? Even if you go through a hardship, right, and you don't show yourself, you you don't come on this thing for the longest period of time. Your brand is already established because they have things to look back on you on and say, you know what? That's what he do. That's what she do. Like I said, Chicky is history. Uh, Realist is his brand is different now, right? If the word. I was just teasing y'all. I was just teasing word, right? Like, hey, he the fake Coach D, right? Because the word is the brand. He can tell you that himself. Like, nah, the word is the brand. You can be Coach D all you want, but the brand is the word. That's who you are now. That's you can't even go nowhere further than who you are. You the word. You the coach is another attribute, but your words is what your brand is, right? And that's why I tell people, as long as you're consistent with what you do, even if you step outside of it, right? And if it doesn't work for you, you still have the brand that you started with. And that's the thing that we have to understand going for. Oh, Lord, I don't even know what you're talking about. But those are the things that we have to understand, right? Just because people have expectations on you, your brand is what you make it. The brand is who you are. That's the brand going forward. And like I said, it doesn't have, when we like I said, for those that's just coming in, a brand does not mean marketing. I mean, it could be marketing, but it doesn't have to be a financial value, right? The value is, who are you, especially when we on YouTube, who you are on this app, right? If for example, if Tay is the chef, and then she turns around and has a civil conversation, or have a conversation with information during her, which is her live, her premieres anyway, she's broadening her horizon. She's having good talk and good food, good conversation, good food. That's who she is. And then when she comes on and do something else, she just broadening her horizon. That means, hey, Tay brand is going to be unbelievable. Why? Because she's more than just who she started off as. She's now into a different spot that she started, and now she's growing even more. And that's why we have to understand we all can do that. Oh boy, doing an entire live going. Oh, um, so that's why I'm saying, as long as we understand who we are, I think we understand that the brand is who we want it to be. If we want it to be where it is, that's our foundation. The brand can never be moved. It can only be moved unless you moved it. So that's the thing that I want, everybody to understand, as far as how much we are brand. Like I said before, we understand that we are influencers on here, but now we have to understand, as we influence, or give advice, or make content, we are branding ourselves to be what we are constantly putting out. So as we go forward, we have to understand that, on 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 the basis, as we continuously push live. And so that's the thing that I want everybody to understand. Going forward. Word, you going live? If Word's going live, y'all, I would ask y'all to go hear what he's talking about. He had a very interesting live this afternoon, and y'all go ahead and, if you're going live, and go on over there and listen to what he said. Drop the link. Uh, okay. I think I just dropped it. But it's just amazing how, we, like, a lot of people don't understand. Um,
What up,
what up,
though?
though?
Can you hear
What's
me?
going on with you? Yes, sir. I can hear you loud and
Oh,
clear. What's going on?
oh, chilling, chilling. We talked with Taysom. I just woke up, bro. Don't mind me. But Tay just sent me this video, and I was watching it, and I'm like, hold on, this the same dude that Nah Fugazi podcast. He built his brand basically going in on women, right? And then somebody just exposed his real life, right? He been telling single mothers that they value drugs. I'm saying that in a nice way, but he knocked up uh, a white woman with she already had two kids. He ain't married to her, gave her two more kids. But you telling other women they value drop, and you just did the same thing. You say ain't no other men go do. So like even when you talking about your brand on here, how you present yourself, me personally, I try to be authentic. And I can't reveal everything because we don't do that in real life, but I do reveal as much as I can. My real life. Um, and that's our brand, our character, you know. But yeah, that was just funny how you know. when you was just talking about branding, I seen that, and I'm looking like he present himself as one thing. He's branding himself online as one thing, but in real life, he's something total opposite. And people see that, that can tear your brand down. You speaking against the same thing you're doing. But then you get people like Derek Jackson. He was projecting all the things that he do or he did to women, telling women to watch out this for men, and he found out all along he was doing this to his way.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part about it, right? Because we keep talking about how, you know, we always say our content is our character, right? But I mean, it's not about boasting or bragging, but if you speak to people behind the scenes and you're consistent with it, you can hold your head high because, like, hey, I'm consistent with this thing, right? I don't need to. I'm not just out here faking it. I'm not just out here trying to tear people down, right? If I sit there and say, you know what, Tay, I hope I hope all is well. I truly mean that. If I say, you know what, word, get well soon, I truly mean that. You understand what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
I'm saying it to you guys because y'all already know I've done that. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't have to fake nothing just to build likes and views, clicks and views and all that. That's just me on an everyday basis. And that's why I'm saying, if you are consistent with it, it's a way of life. That's your brand. Your brand is your way of life. It's just like religion. People just practice the thing, but it's not a way of life for them because they could turn it, they think they could turn it on and off on a at like as a light bulb, like a light switch.
They
No,
convenience.
when you, yeah, it's convenient for me to be consistent with what I say I do. That if that's not okay with everybody, then that's a them problem. If I am who I am, then my brand is what it is because I am portraying that and I'm also living it, right? If you know what I mean, if you are a life coach, right? You have to portray yourself as you have to practice being a life coach. All right, I follow this practice because this is what I do on an everyday basis, right? When you go live with the kids, so on and so forth. That's who you are. What do you think? I'm propping the kids to go for a walk and things like. No, we're not doing all that. This is my everyday situation. This is my brand. I'm a dad who comes on here with understanding and wisdom, and I try to give it to you guys at the same time. That's who I am. That's your brand, and that's who you are. So shout out to you.
I appreciate that, bro. 'Cause, like even when I heard you say the content is your character, like it took like 4 times for you to say it for me to like for it to melt in what you were saying. And it was like, wow, and like you said, even now how you talking about my brand, I'm thinking like I'm just being me, bro. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a lot of different things, and I display all that on here and I tell people how, my whole thing is about self-development, and I'm sharing my story, how I did it, and I'm sharing what I did. Like, hey, try this, do this, look at it this way, look at it this way, or add this, take away that. That's ultimately what I'm doing, and I'm showing that at the same time. When I talk about patience, I give you the opportunity. Even when I'm live, when I'm with my kids, you can hear how I interact with my kids. I'm like this 24/7. Do I yell and scream at them? Yeah, when they doing crazy stuff, when they about to fall, yeah, I'm yelling. But normally I'm laid back. I don't yell at nobody in life but my kids, bro. And that's when they go crazy. They mama, a whole totally different story, you know. But even, y'all get to hear I interact with my wife all the time when I'm talking to y'all. And then I come on here, you see the consistency. So, my brand, that's why I tell people don't fake it till you make it. Just build yourself to what you want to be. That's more effective and efficient. Just build yourself up. Practice these things. The more you practice, the better you get at it. Make these things rituals, and then eventually they turn to habits. When they become habits, it becomes new nature to you. That's how you change your nature is by developing new habits, and working on them consistently, bettering them. I gotta learn more patience, bro. My kids little now. They gonna be teenagers, bro. I'm gonna need even more patience. You know, I'm small on YouTube, bro. I'm gonna need even more patience when I blow up. Dealing with my like I'm looking at DoorDash and I'm like, I don't know if the lady is scammer or not. I think she's just a hustler from what I see. Um, but like I'm just imagining like being on here for 4 years, right? And then you finally pop off and you found what you good at or what's making you money and you lean into that and now people hating on you. Like, hold on, like this I found what I'm good at. This what made me pop. Now I'm leaning into it and now you mad 'cause I ain't doing this, so I ain't doing it like that. Like that shit wild, bro. And always on here,
But
black man, bro. I'm look, and I don't know, maybe because I'm black. I'm starting to. I don't see stuff like this in real life, but it's like I'm looking at her videos, trying to do some little research for my next show, and then I'm seeing all these other videos, and this black man, black people just going at her. Like all the white people, like, hey, just do this, add this. Don't more constructive or instructive criticism. Like, you
mhm.
might want to niche out, you might want to do this. Like saying some positive stuff. Other people like you a scammer. You this. They digging in her past. Okay, people change, man. Even if she did something back then and she doing it now. That's how I look at people. We all done did something before. You know what I'm saying? That we probably ain't proud of.
Absolutely.
Some of us did something we don't never want people to know, but we ain't doing it now. We learned from it. We moved on from it. And now people want to, like, that's how you can make people backslide, bro. Like, I don't know, man. I'm in the building of people. I ain't in the tearing down. Even if they try to tear me down, I might spank them, but I ain't go, crucify 'em.
But see, that's the funny part about it, right? Like, look, you got people with checkered past, right? Now let's look at the game of checkers, right? You got a checkered past. What happens in checkers? You go on down to the board and you become a bigger brand. You become a king, right? So that means you have room for improvement. So if you can improve yourself, then that means your brand itself would be improving. You're no longer just the little checker. Now you become a double decker, a king. Why is that so hard for people to understand in real life? You can always improve on your brand. That's why I always say improve because change. You can always change for the worse. I've never heard nobody improve for the worse. That don't even make sense. And that's what I want people to understand going forward. Like if you brand it, if your brand it has nothing but room for elevation, you got to work to improve it. You got to change that checker pass, right? Somebody go to jail, they got to work 9 times hard to become a model citizen. You're gonna have to do things to show people that what you did before was before. Today is a new day, and that's how it is when you brand yourself, whether it's here, real life, as an individual, a parent, a business person, whatever. You have to improve yourself so your brand can be seen as just what you want it to be seen as. So, I don't know about the lady you speaking on, but if she's being consistent with it, why is everybody attacking her? If it's a scam or not, there people somebody might have learned from her, right? If that's the case, we all scammers. We all scammers
Hey,
because we're
bro.
influencing one, and now look, we talking about going from influencers to somebody listening to it applied to their life and it works. So are we scamming too? No, we're just giving game for what works for us. It may work for somebody else, but that's the brand that we standing on. We're standing on what works for us. And we giving it out there and somebody improves themselves. That's not a scam. That's just somebody they may have took a piece of it and improved it and got better results than what we did in the first place. That's not a scam. That's just somebody doing what they need to do, in my opinion.
We're gonna go in on it tomorrow. I'm gonna just sit back and relax tonight. Man, I was putting my daughter to sleep. The next thing I know, my phone went off. I jumped up like, oh shit. So yeah, I'm tired, bro. They worked me today. Took the family shopping. We went and got a couple things. Everybody running around the house happy. So I'm like, damn, we had Christmas early. But
And that's possible. You know what I mean? But that's what happens, right? Even as you work on an everyday, like you're a dad every day, right? So now you know there's going to be good days, there're going to be bad days, but the consistency of you being there, you're learning, and so on and so forth. Your brand can't do nothing but get better unless you give up on it and it falls apart. But you're not a quitter, so you're going to continuously work on it until it gets to a level to where, all right, I may not be a master at being a dad, but I'm well enough to say, you know what, I understand why my kids do this. I know how to stop them before they get crazy. If we go for a walk for a reason because they tired of sitting in the house. The observation game is like where it's going. Don't Tay said, what? You not going live? He going live. He gonna go live in about an hour. Hey, nah, I couldn't hold off.
probably
I couldn't
probably
hold
about probably about hey, after Tatum showed me that video, give me about 2 hours to wake up. Give me an hour and a half, 2 hours to wake up. I'm gonna go live.
it. But that's it's just crazy. Like I'm sitting there like, wow, why is everybody having a problem with this? Like we already had the conversation. Like I had the conversation about being an influencer. I even referenced how you spoke about even being an influencer is a form of manipulation, right? But if that's the case, we can have good manipulations and we can market ourselves. That's a brand. That's what you putting out there. You put a product of you being able to have a conversation for somebody to empower themselves or better themselves or increasing themselves, whatever it is. That's what you do. So there's nothing wrong with being a brand on here. You just got to understand not everybody's doing this for a monetary value. Chicky, all right. Have a good night. Thank you for stopping by.
Have a good one, Chicken. Yeah, let me hop down here real quick, bro. I just pop back in the crib. I gotta get them together.
All right.
All
So,
right, but I'm still
shout out.
listening. I appreciate you,
All right.
bro.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And shout out to the word for popping up here and having a conversation. But like I said, we all have the opportunity. We are all a brand, whatever it is. Whether we doing, whether we having a conversation about music, or whether we talking about uh 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 mukbang, whatever it is, History Channel, or just just having conversations like Word do. But at the end of the day, we have to understand that's the brand that we standing on in the beginning. Now, if we become better versions of ourselves, we're gonna grow. We're gonna enlarge the brand. We ain't just gonna be in one market. We could be over here, and that's the thing that we have to understand. But it's not about scamming. It's not about nothing but us growing to be a better version of ourselves. So as long as keep going with who you are going forward. Like I said, as long as you have your foundation, I don't think your brand can be touched. The only way it can be touched is if you you get in your own way, and if you get in your own way, the brand could fall apart right before your eyes. But if you doing what you have to do, and if you continuously working on it, there's nothing here but growth going forward. So I do appreciate everybody coming through tonight slash this morning. But like sometimes when you have something in your heart and your mind, you just push, uh, go live and have the conversation. I just feel that a lot of us, we have the potential to be great, and as long as we go on and be great, that's gonna be our brand. We're gonna whatever we're great at is the brand, and so with that going forward, we have to understand that we have the potential to be anything that we want to be. And, greatness is ahead of each and every one of us. So our brand could be, you know, it will grow going forward. So with that being said, I truly appreciate everybody stopping by, having, listened to the conversation, and, hopefully it resonated with somebody. So, as if some of y'all go on to bed, just close your eyes and just really evaluate what was said tonight. That your greatness could be the brand that you need to go forward with. And we all are great. I don't care who it is. We are all great here. We all are here to be the best versions of ourselves, and we all can be great. So I want everybody to, let that marinate throughout the night with you guys. And until next time, I will holler. Hi, Safi. What's going on? So, if you take your chance and look back at it, at the conversation, just just allow it to resonate, or if it works for you, apply it. If it doesn't, you know, you can say you listened, and if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you showing up, coming through. Uh until next time, guys, I'm out of here.